Alright, what's going on, folks? Hope everyone's having a great and happy Father's Day. I'm sure a lot of us got some plans today for that, so I will not be keeping us here too long. Maybe 30 minutes to an hour max, so we can all get around and do the things that we want to do. But it's Sunday stream. Last week was around my birthday, so I couldn't stream for that. So want to make sure that we get some good discussions here, answer any questions you guys got, and then we'll all get on our way, okay? So let's give it like 5 or 6 minutes. Let people who want to show up come in, and we'll get started. I'm gonna go ahead and share the video. Make sure I have the video. Excuse me. All right. What's up, Don? James? Happy Father's Day out there for sure. Any dad trading cryptos got my respect. I'll tell you what. And a lot of dads doing crypto are probably not doing crypto right now. But anyways, you guys got any plans for the day? I'm about to head out in the water after stream for a little bit. Oh, wait, Tigris? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get into BTC. I know we only have a few people here right now, but a lot of people that want to watch will probably be happy catching up on the VOD anyways, and I'm going to try and make it a quick one. So let's look at BTC and Ethereum real quick. Maybe we'll look at some of the traditional markets too, and then we'll look at some handful of shit coins and we'll get out of here, all right? So let's pull up BTC. All right. Now, I gotta say, the monthly for BTC is not looking that bad. Previously on stream or the video I made last week, we were down here pretty low, below the 8. And now we've actually bumped up and we've been holding the 8 now. So that's a pretty good sign. The cycle is still a little bit extended, so that's not great. And we are still kind of falling in momentum, which to me is the first sign of a bit of a deeper pullback. Great example of that would be, last bear market with Ethereum, right? We had this nice little bounce off the lows, nice little momentum off the lows, and then as soon as we got that downtick in momentum, it was going to be a bit of a slog for a while until we got this uptick in here, right? And then once we started to move back up towards zero on the CCI, things started to shift in favor of the bulls again. So I do think that's a very real possibility for something that BTC will have to go through. Now, I don't know if we're going to be getting one of those black swan events again that we had with COVID, but I definitely think, something like this is not that out there, right, into the end of the year. But we'll just have to see. For now, things actually don't look that bad, right? The way we've held the monthly 8 is really good. Going down to the weekly, we've also held the bands really nicely, and overall just respected this pretty significant SR flip in here. So that's actually a really good sign. If we could now get a couple things, ideally a bullish engulfing close back above this last bearish candle and above the weekly 8 EMA. And ideally, in addition to that, we can get a higher high on lower time frames above 28.5K. That to me would be enough to signify that we're kind of out of this intermediate term downtrend that we've been in since, April. But until then, I think there's still a pretty good reason to err on the side of caution. But you guys know me. I mean, I'm still 70% long my crypto portfolio, right? I've got some cash in case things really hit the fan, or in case we just kind of chop for a while, slow grind lower. I mean, it'll be nice to have cash into the end of the year if we get some deals, and if this whole BlackRock ETF thing takes a while to really come to fruition. And I'm pretty confident that that's going to go through. I mean, just looking at their track record of hundreds of ETFs going through and like one or two that didn't, I'd say there's a really good chance that this one goes through. Now, will it happen next week, next month, this quarter? I don't know, right? It's kind of all up in the air, but that will be, I mean, in my opinion, that's the biggest catalyst for a bull market that we can have. Oh, institutions are scared of crypto. Oh, the contagion, the recession. Like, okay, well, BlackRock wants the ETF. So how about that? It's like clearly these guys want exposure and they want to sell their products to their customers. So, I mean, that's honestly, in my opinion, the most bullish thing we could have for a bull market. So if that comes to fruition end of year, I think we're going to really be liking price action going into next year. So I'm happy holding a good majority of the stuff I have now. I mean, I'm 70% long. There's probably about 20% of that I could cut if things start to get extra rocky. But, for now, most of what I have, I'm pretty happy holding into the next year. I mean, not all of it's, super quality. Some of it's kind of mid-tier. Some of it's low-tier. But there's a few in there, like Tigris, that we're going to talk about that I think are really good contenders for big winners in the next year, or maybe next 2 years. So anyways, we'll try not to take too long here on BTC. Excuse me. All in all, it looks pretty decent. The prevailing trend on lower time frames is still this downtrend, though. So, we could always come up, make a lower high right about where we are now, and continue lower. Would not be that surprising. But for now, we've got a decent bounce off the lows. We've retested and held this range high from 2022 very nicely. Yeah, I mean, not much more to say about that now. We're kind of at it could go up or it could go down point, right? You're in the middle of no man's land. You got EMAs above you as resistance. You've got a lower high above you as resistance. You've got MAs below you as potential support. And you've got this big demand zone, order block, whatever you want to call it, from this SR flip. That could also be support. So, you know, if you want to go out and be a hero and try and pick places where we could definitely be holding, I'd say this 25.5K level is probably one of them, right? And the next one down here, somewhere near 22K, right? And ideally, we continue to make higher lows on every major pullback. So anything in front of 20K is pretty fair value to continue this trend, you know? Right? Very, very crude drawing. But you get the idea, right? Ideally, we would stay above the last higher low that led to this big push up in March and April. So anything down to 20K is fair game. All right. So that's it for BTC. I mean, if you're looking for some trades, I think there's decent edge for longs on a throwback here, right? If we get a little retrace back towards 25.5, you know, I think there's a decent edge for a long. It's just kind of, it's a little bit risky when you're buying the first bounce, right? Because you bounce off the lows. We've bounced to a near-term higher high. Maybe you put in a higher low, but, you know, where are you going to put your stop, right? Are you going to bid, stop below the low? That definitely makes the most sense. It's going to give you the best risk reward. But, you know, it's not really, that idea has not played out well the last couple of months. So I think it's pretty high risk to be doing that here, but, you know, power to you. If that's the kind of trades you want to take, that's the one to take, I believe. Somewhere in front of mid 25Ks, stop below the low, and then your first target's going to be that top of that weekly candle we talked about. Right, this is kind of our big test. If we can make a bullish engulfing above here, that's around 27.4K. And if we look at the 4 hour, 27.4K is right around pi as well, which is where we failed in the last big pump. So, you know, reasonable risk reward levels here. Nothing crazy. About, you know, 2.5, something like that. It's alright, right? It's just not my kind of trade, right? I don't really want to have a stop below this low. If anything, I'd be averaging in spot. And then, shoot, you know, I wouldn't want to be cutting unless this completely breaks down this whole structure. So, anyways, give me 1 second to blow my nose here, then we can get into Ethereum and some low caps. Alright. So yeah, BTC looks fine. Again, it's still not like my choice pick for anything to own. I think every portfolio could stand to have some BTC exposure, as it's going to mute the volatility of your overall portfolio a fair bit. But in general, I'd rather own Ethereum. Right now, maybe I'd rather not own either of them. But that's mainly just because Ethereum BTC is looking kind of rough again. And this is to be expected. You know, there's talks of a BTC ETF. There's not talks of an Ethereum ETF. They will kind of move hand in hand. But I think we're reaching a little bit of a cool-off period for Ethereum. I think the monthly needs more time, right? The cycle's still coming down. It's been coming down since December 2022, and it's really been coming down since the start of 2022. Right? We had this little intermediate-term cycle bounce, and now we're coming back down again. Momentum has not been on the rise since November. Okay, so once we get the uptick in momentum for ETH BTC on the monthly, it's game on. Right, it's game on. I'm an Ethereum maximalist again. Until then, look at the weekly, right? We're in no man's land, the same as BTC on the daily, right? Could go either way. Could be the bottom, could be the middle of the pack, right? So, what does that mean, right? For me, ideally, I would like to be shoving cash into Ethereum somewhere down here, right? You get a big flush, people start chasing BTC into the highs, and then right when BTC starts consolidating, Ethereum starts to make moves. So ideally, we can get a dip down towards that 0.05 level, And maybe we don't, you know, maybe the best we get is down towards 0.06, the lower end here. But I think when we get that is going to be the time to shove in Ethereum hard. Because this is a nice consolidation, right? I mean, we popped out of this range down here in the middle of 2021. It's been almost 2 years of sideways for ETH BTC. So I'm pretty sure its time is coming. I'm just not sure exactly when. But a higher low somewhere in here with a nice setup on the monthly of bullish engulfing would be a really good sign. How many months are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've already had a 9 count off the lows. If we don't bounce on the 9 count, it tends to go to 12 from what I've seen. So, you know, August or September maybe. If we can't bounce right here, August or September for Ethereum low, I think makes sense. You know, so bidding Q4, I think is going to be your best bet for Ethereum, you know. Like, I have some spot exposure. I have some Ethereum ready for degen trades and just to hold some for gas and stuff like that, but I'm not really going to back up the truck until probably late Q3, early Q4. It all depends on what we get, but it's kind of got the same problem as BTC on the monthly, where the cycle is getting kind of extended, right? We've had a nice move up off the FTX lows. Momentum's starting to kind of fail. We're trying to hold the monthly 8, but things are looking a little bit rocky. Failed to make a higher high. I don't know, it looks okay, right? It looks good for the long term. It looks okay for the intermediate term. Weekly, same as BTC though, looks pretty good. This is a really nice candle. You know, a lot of people had their stops below this level, and now they've been cut out of their trades because they're trading high leverage. And maybe we can run up from here. Just, you know, I'm not super confident on anything. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like I said, we had the 9 count already. If we can't bounce here, you know, I think we could be going a fair bit lower into the 1400s. But anyways, I suppose it's enough. I do like this nice bounce off the 200 that we had, though. Really good. The same that we did back in March. I don't think Bitcoin made it all the way there, but it did the same thing. We called this setup back in March. And it worked really well. So, you know, maybe that was it. Maybe Ethereum's going to start leading the market. I just don't think it's ready with how ETH BTC looks, but you know, who knows? It's a nice hold. It's a nice hold there. I'll give you that. But I would like to see a little bit of strength, at least on the 4 hour. I mean, even the 4 hour is struggling to break out of this downtrend. So we're going to want to see that before we get too excited, you know? All right, anyways, we're good to go on the low caps. I assume we're good. And with that, you guys know my favorite investments going in the next year are, you know, a handful of things, right? I really like privacy. I think if there's ever a time for that narrative to come to light, it's going to be this run. I really like these Telegram trading bots, and not even just bots, like, you know, Unibot's not necessarily a bot per se, you know, you're still inputting what you wanted to do, but I really like having these tools. It feels like a more modern version of trading, right? Like having to do all the Uniswap and setting your slippage and all that stuff, figuring out the taxes. It feels kind of old now, right? When you can just use Unibot, you paste in the contract address, boom, you're good to go. That's it. You can set your limit orders, you can front run, you can mirror, you can do all this cool stuff. And now it's looking like you're going to be able to do perpetual swap trades through Unibot too. Right? And I know that's not really public knowledge yet per se. But I think Unibot has given a little bit of a tease on that. If we check this out. I love when whites is trending. But check this out, right? This guy Cause is talking about Unibot's a great innovation or invention, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It'd be nice if we could have a P&L screenshot for every trade. I definitely agree with that. People love sharing their P&L screenshots. And then being able to leverage trade with a DEX. And they post the eye emoji. So it seems like perhaps that could be coming pretty soon. Now, how sick would it be to line up two of my favorite narratives in the form of Unibot and Tigris. Because I'm feeling a little bit of a Unibot-Tigris partnership in the works here. And if that happens, I mean, between the two of them, I have got a substantial amount of my portfolio. About 30% of my portfolio is in the two of these. Okay, so if these work out, and, you know, James was asking about realistic market cap valuations leading up to the bull run and during the bull run. Leading up to the bull run, I would say 100 million. I would say 100 million is pretty fair value. I mean, the only real competitors at this point are the Gains Network and GMX. Obviously, GMX putting got a lot more volume going through it right now, but not by a lot. I mean, let's go see if I can find the dashboard for Tigris. Here we are. So, okay, well, this is obviously bugged. I'm sure there's at least one trader, but last 7 days, $2.5 million volume. Last year, $125 million volume. I would wager, what's GMX probably doing every 7 days? With this, that would say, I don't know, 50 million. So you're looking at a $440 million market cap versus Tigris is at, what, $7 right now? Tigris is $3.3 million. So that's a 130x difference. And I would say, what did it say? Weekly, $2.5 million. And weekly for GMX is probably 7 times 7, so about 50. So GMX is doing about 20 times the volume every week of Tigris, but it's 140 times the market cap. Pretty interesting. And then you've got Gains Network, which is 130 million and doing 2.8 million a day. And actually, I think this is bugged. I'm pretty sure this is bugged because I think this did almost $2 million one day in the last week. I can't remember. Let me go see if the Tigris web app is showing it accurately. Or maybe that just is accurate. Maybe they haven't had any action the past couple days. Where do I see volume? Is there an easy way to see this? Okay, yeah, so it is bugged. So they've had, here's advanced stats. Let me see if this will have it. It's on the same link. Damn. Well, no, they do have trading volume today, so this is a bit bugged. I would guess that, I don't know, maybe 4 million, 4 or 5 million this week, which is pretty darn good. A tenth of GMX in the last week at 140th of the market cap. What's up, Tommy? Glad you could tune in, brother. We won't be here too long. Just want to give a little brief look at some of these low caps. We already talked about BTC and Ethereum, and then get everyone out of here. But anyways, we just started talking about Unibot is looking to add perpetual swaps to their platform, which I think is absolutely massive. Being able to trade on leverage through Uniswap or through Unibot is absolutely fantastic. And the biggest thing, the fees. Guys, we're going to be reaping on the fees. You expecting a drop in price in July when a portion of the lock TIG is released? Yeah, I really am. Yeah. How much is getting released? I believe it's about 500,000 coins. over the month. And I think I had the numbers here. It's really not that bad. Let me see what my guys said. Oh, hold on, my girlfriend's calling me. Give me 1 second. All right. So, let's see. I have it here somewhere. Yeah, it's about 500,000. So that'll bring our total supply circulating at about 1 million coins at the end of July, which only has us at about $7.5 million market cap right now, which is chef's kiss. Okay. I'm trying to see. I was trying to see how many, because the way it works, I think it's like NFT holders or something are getting it, but I think it comes out to like 1 to 2,000 Tigris per NFT holder, something like that. So first off, a lot of those guys are just gonna hold. If they bought the NFT for Tigris, they're probably just gonna hold. A lot of them will sell all of it, and some of them will shave off a piece of it. So if we assume there's 550,000 that are coming into the market, let's assume 300 of those will be sold, and it's over 30 days. You know, so we're talking like less than 10,000 Tigris a day. I think it's something the market can handle. And maybe that puts us down in the $4 to $5 range, right? So, I don't know. I actually don't think it's going to go as low as some people are expecting. I would love to get one dip down towards where I originally entered, which was, you know, under $2 and under $4. Now, I don't know if we're going to really get something like that, but I mean, that's what I'm looking for in July. I think if you've already got a nice bag, it's probably worthwhile to wait until we see what happens. And, you know, have some cash ready. Like, I would definitely like to bump up my size. It'd be 25%. And I've already got a lot of size in this. But, you know, it's one of my biggest bets. My favorite bet right now is perpetual swap dexes. Because all this crap that's gone on the last year with centralized exchanges, you know, people are too scared to hold their money on any centralized exchange. You know, FTX went down. That was one of the biggest out there. Now there's crap going on with Binance. I know a lot of my friends moved all their funds off Binance. Where's there that's left? You know, Coinbase, I guess. Like, I mean, what else? Like Kraken, Bitstamp, you know, Bitfinex, places that you don't really want to trade either. So I think perpetual swap dexes are going to see a massive increase in volume in the next couple of years. Now, you know, what does that mean? Is it all going to be on DYDX? Is it all going to be on GMX or this or that? I don't know. So I want some exposure on really all of them. Right now, I've mainly got Tigris as a low cap. There's another one coming out called Lex. And, you know, you see this big candle. That's just from me and any of you guys that wanted to get in. So we can't really say that this means there's traction yet. But I do believe this is going to have some traction in the coming months as well, because it's same as Tigris, around $10 million market cap and $1 million liquidity. So you're looking at about a tenth in liquidity. Tigris is around 3.5 million right now, 500K liquidity. And then we got Unibot at 20 million with 1.5 million liquidity. So that's kind of the trifecta right now for me. And then, of course, you know, I would like to get some GMX because that's obviously already a proven successful decentralized exchange for perps. But, you know, it's $500 million market cap. So I think stuff like that still has a pretty big upside. But, you know, if GMX can go 10x from here, what can the low cap dexes do, right? So realistic market cap leading up to the bull run, i.e. in the next 12 months, I could see Tigris going up to $100 million market cap, which after the unlocks in July means around $100. So we're looking at anywhere from, you know, 10 to 13x in the next year on Tigris. And I think that's pretty reasonable. I mean, it's going to depend on a lot of factors, right? Tigris needs to get adoption. The whole TIG USD thing has to work out well. But it's looking good so far. And then especially if we can get a partnership with Unibot and Tigris, I mean, it's going to be setting some really good stuff up. As I do believe Unibot's going to be one of the main blue chips going into this next cycle. And then, I mean, shoot, as far as peak bull run goes, I don't see why something like this couldn't reach $500 million to $1 billion. I mean, GMX is moderately successful. We're in a bear market right now, and GMX is already $500 million. So if that goes to $5 billion in a massive bull market, and keep in mind, guys, if you go to the top 100 right now, it's 377 million and above. So first off, 500 is barely going to get you in the top 100. Look, there's GMX, barely in it. And the top 100 in a bull market is going to be much, much higher valuations. If you guys remember last bull market, the 100th coin was over $1 billion. So we could get $500 million on Tigris in a bull market and still not even be top 100. And if it becomes one of the best dexes, the perp dexes on Arbitrum, and Arbitrum is billions of dollars, and Arbitrum's main dex is billions of dollars, why can't Tigris be hundreds of millions? That's my idea. So if we assume end of July, current market cap would be 7.5 million, you know, you're talking a 50x from here, easy. If you've got the patience to hold it, and if the team and the market determines it to be that valuable, I mean, I think we're sitting on some gold here, and I'm willing to risk, you know, pretty much all of my open P&L on it to see if we get something pretty crazy. I agree, yeah, the UI is pretty slick. UI is pretty slick. Let's see, if I pull it up here, it shouldn't dox anything. I don't think I have anything to dox. But, yeah, it's pretty slick UI-wise, honestly. You know, you can see all the different positions that are going on down here, the users that have those positions, blah, blah, blah. You can have people trading the Euro on here. You can be trading Pepe. You can trade the Euro versus Pepe. You can trade ETH versus BTC. I mean, you can trade whatever you want, really. I mean, they've got some really cool exotic pairs that you're not going to find on a lot of other exchanges. Like, I mean, just think about ETH BTC alone. So many people want to trade ETH against BTC, but you go on Binance or GMX or DYDX, how are you going to trade ETH versus BTC? You have to have multiple positions. Or you're just trading it mentally, you know, you're holding ETH with this idea that it's going to outpace BTC, but it's not really an ETH BTC trade unless you're trading both the assets. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah, staking's pretty easy. I mean, let me check. I've been staked a few days now. Let me go to my wallet here. And I believe the rewards are in TIG USD as well. So you're not even getting Tigris in rewards. You're just getting actual fees. So, and keep in mind that the treasury for the project already has $7.4 million in it, which is pretty crazy to consider. I mean, that's what, over 100,000 TIG USD, almost 1 million Tigris, So a massive portion of supply is just sitting in the own project's treasury. I don't know. I just think the potential here is pretty crazy. Waiting $4 for TIG. Yeah, I think a lot of us are waiting for that. So there's a good chance, even if we do get a big dump, it's going to be pretty competitive. But anyways, taking a little bit too much time on the one project, but I mean, this is definitely my favorite pick now. We went from OXO, solid project, had an insane run up, honestly one of the best that Blockcircle's ever seen. And genuinely, I mean, still looks fine, right? Once OXO breaks this downtrend, I think we're going to see some fireworks again. There's still a lot of people holding on to this, which can be good, can be bad. It's not really something I care to touch anymore. I'm pretty much completely out of this. Got a little tiny mood bag, but you know, it'd be great to roll this into another big banger in Tigris. I mean, we've already done it in Unibot. You know, we're in Unibot since $3 to $4. So we rolled a ton of OXO profits into that, making stacks on it. We've got a handful of other coins that are doing pretty well since entry. Some of them are down from entry. But between Tigris and Unibot, I mean, could not be happier with how OXO has gone. You know, just really great overall. Yeah, and then there's a few like, you know, Zero-X-Encrypt that I think are good projects. I just think they're going to take time to really get to a point where, you know, we're going to see some good price action, right? Like OXE, they've got to do their migration. They got to fix their shitty contract. They got some stuff they got to do, right? You know, and I think that's going to take some time. You know, maybe seeing us back down near $1 or something before it happens. But, I mean, yeah, like, good point. Volume on selling is decreasing. I mean, there's very few people that are still selling at this point, other than the contract address, sadly. But, you know, it still looks fine, and the project's still very sound, right? Sitting at $2 million market cap, almost 400K liquidity. The tools are really solid. The team, could be better, could be worse. It looks solid. And then we've got stuff like Remit, that's kind of a wild card. You know, we had this massive sell-off with the Telegram FUD and all that crap. And since then, we've already bounced almost over 400% off the lows. Now, I didn't snipe the lows. I was not home to do so. But I did catch a nice bid between 1 and 2 cents. And I don't know. I mean, I got a feeling this is going to fully run it back sooner or later. You know, it might take a little bit of time to really do it. But I genuinely think Remit's going to be going to new highs eventually. So that's another one that I'm actually pretty keen on. I wouldn't say it's in my favorite projects by any means, but definitely something to keep your eyes on while Unibot's looking good. And in addition to that, we've also got Dung, aka Scarab, which is another Unibot competitor, sitting at $3 million market cap. I also think this one's going to new highs. I mean, I could see this at $10 million, which would be about 3 to 4 cents. And that's probably where I'd be looking to TP, you know, maybe half my bag up here. Because you got some pretty big guys in this one. I don't know if I really want to have a massive bag while those guys are holding, like Bob Laxative and them. But, yeah, that's definitely up there. Dung, Remit, and Unibot, kind of the trifecta for those kind of coins. Yeah, no, I've seen some people on that sniped Remit like right at the lows. You had to be pretty brave to do that, so props to those guys. But, you know, you stand in the face of FUD and you keep winning. I mean, that's a really great feeling to counter the majority of traders that were selling on this and saying Remit's dead, blah, blah, blah. And here we are, 400% off the lows. And really, not much volume. You know, if we get some serious volume back in this, I mean, we could easily be back up at 6-7 cents. So, it looks pretty nice. Clippy? I remember Clippy. I remember that Bripto Kenneth was trading that one a bit when it came out. Why is this chart so fresh? Well, I guess it's only a month old. Man, this thing is kind of dead, though, on some days. Sheesh. I mean, chart looks alright, though. You know, it looks alright. 200K market cap, 50K lick. I mean, not too shabby. I don't know if I'll be touching it. I'm kind of burnt out on meme coins in general. Not really something I'm messing with anymore, but yeah, it could be decent. And then we've got Poof, right? Really solid use case on Proof. They're also churning out some nice fees. I think this is going to be a good winner. Toad. I haven't really talked much about this in Blockcircle, but I think Toad's pretty interesting too. Only 700K market cap, 80K in liquidity, and they're building out like a gasless decentralized exchange, which is going to have a lot of protective features on it. I think that's really cool. Kind of one of my smaller bets, but I think this could be really something special too if the team actually pulls it off. Maple, Maple's all right. They've got some tokenomics updates coming soon. Shaved off a fair bit of this near entry. Still got, a few thousand tokens of that. Snail, my only real meme exposure, kind of lost its uptrend. I've been battling if I actually even wanted to keep it at all, but my boy Capo's pretty big on this one. Said they got a lot of plans for it. So, I'm keeping some exposure just to see where it goes. It's kind of my only meme exposure anyways. And then Tropica, man, making new highs again. Got to be one of the most resilient bags I own in the last months. I mean, we've had this nasty sell-off on BTC since the middle of April. And all Ka has done is rally, 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 rally. They're building a really cool game. They're going to have all kinds of different ways to accrue value for token holders. There's no taxes. It's $40 million market cap, but circulating, I believe, is only like $1 million. They've got more liquidity than they have circulating market cap, and I think that is actually crazy. Oh, no, I forgot to send the live stream link to my girlfriend. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right. But yeah, I mean, this is honestly one of the most resilient projects in crypto right now. And I bought up all of mine in this range. Never ended up getting the size that I wanted, unfortunately. It is what it is. It just kind of broke out faster than I was expecting at the end of May. But I don't know. I really like the team here. They got a lot planned. They've got some Axie Infinity devs on board. And, Axie went to billions of dollars last market cycle. So, looks pretty nice. Yeah, I'm in from like low 40s to like low 50s. So, I'm not really up that much on it. But the resilience is something else. And I'm seeing a pretty good bit of interest coming this way, too. Yeah, Axie dev, dude. Pretty cool. I think that's public as well. They were addressing it in the Telegram, and it seems legit enough to me. So yeah, I was looking to bid some more if we could get back under 50s, but hold on, my cat wants in. What's up, buddy? But yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of hunkering down. I'm definitely not selling it anytime soon. I mean, $1 million market cap. I mean, you guys saw what some of the garbage GameFi projects could hit last bull run, with Jewel hitting like $1 billion, and the game was honestly pretty mid. I mean, it was fun. It was fun enough, but $1 billion, really? I don't think so. So that's what I'm saying, homie. Imagine the smell at 500. And they just burned like 90% of their supply too. Like, things are looking pretty good. Things are looking pretty good for Tropica. So that's probably in my top 3 favorite bags right now. Tigris, Unibot, and Tropica. And if that wasn't there, I guess Smardex would be the next one. You know, really nice liquidity ratio. $30 million market cap, $7 million in liquidity is actually pretty freaking crazy. They've got better rates on a lot of majors than you're going to get on Uniswap. And they're chunking out some good amount of fees. So, yeah, this is either my third or fourth favorite right now. Really cool project. I consider adding more on this dip. Also been very resilient in this pullback. I mean, you know, most coins during this last flush looked something like this. You know, they basically retraced the entirety of their May and June rallies. But SmartX has held up strong. Looks really good. I don't actually have as much exposure to this as I'd like. I think maybe, I don't know, 3% of the account risk to 0 or something like that. So nothing crazy, but I don't know, it looks really good. I'm really excited for this one. So those are definitely the ones I like the most. Tigris, Unibot, Tropica, SmartX. Noise GPT is up there as kind of a wild card. You know, sitting under $1 million market cap. Had a nice pump off the lows. TP'd right into the highs. Got a pullback all the way back to my entry. So I added some back. You know, the same bet as before. And if we get the same push up, probably take the same TP again into the highs if we can get it. And then just let it consolidate. I mean, they're doing some really cool stuff. If you guys haven't tried their tech, give it a try. It's pretty cool to have Joe Rogan and Donald Trump saying whatever you want. What you want out now? So yeah, definitely give that a try if you haven't yet. It's pretty cool. I don't think token holders are accruing any kind of value yet though, so you know, the real bet here is whether Noise GPT is actually going to get some form of adoption use case from other projects. I imagine that their tech can be plugged in to other projects that want to make use of it, but it's just not there yet, you know. What do you think about BlackRock and Fidelity now? I mean, I was talking about this earlier. You cannot really ask for more bullish news for crypto than a BlackRock ETF. And I do think that it's all but guaranteed that it will pass. I just don't know how long it's going to take for that to happen. You know, it could be next week, could be next month, could be 6 months from now. I don't really know. But if BlackRock is pushing for it, I mean, it's kind of inevitable that we're going to get a BTC ETF now. And then I believe it's come out today that Fidelity is also trying to push for an ETF too. I mean, it seems like it's essentially in the cards, right? And if we get that, I believe that will lead us to one of the greatest bull runs that we've ever seen in history. You know, the bull run to make it. So, as exciting as that is, we need to add something to that statement, right? This is the bull run to make it if you don't whiff the bag, right? If you don't whiff the low caps you have now, and if you don't whiff your cash stack that you have now. Right? Because the plays I got now, I'm pretty confident in. But in the next 12 months, there's going to be other plays that pop up that are going to be equally exciting and only available to people that have dry powder. U.S. court says no proofs of something bad with... Yeah, it seems like it's turning out that a lot of the Binance US stuff was just FUD. So if we can wipe out the Binance FUD, and we can stack on some bullish news with all the ETF stuff, I mean, everything's starting to look pretty good again, isn't it? I'm just not completely confident that we're gonna, you know, V-bottom everything and keep ripping. But who knows, you know, I mean, I'm happy if it does because I'm more long than I am short in the market. But you know, I think it's pretty reasonable for some of this stuff to take months to play out, you know. So we'll see. We're not trying to rush into anything, right? Happy with the exposure I got now. Happy with the amount of cash I got. I got plenty of cash in the bank to pay my bills into the next run. So we're sitting in a pretty good position. And that's, as I've talked about before, one of my biggest goals is just to never have a day where you wake up, look at the charts, and you're freaking out, right? Nothing to freak out about, right? Got cash in the bank, got cash in stable coins, and I got plenty of crypto exposure. So up, down, sideways doesn't matter. You know, I'm pretty much prepared for anything. I'm not going to make the most amount of money as some people, but I'm hopefully not going to get as wrecked as some people if we go back to, you know, $15,000 BTC. If you're looking at a place to add more Unibot and COB, where would it be? Unibot, man, I was going to bid some of this before I went to bed last night. I just did not feel like crawling out of bed. And I've also already de-risked. You know, if you guys remember, we issued a sell signal on Unibot at $18 when we first hit it, which was, I don't know, the start of June or something like that. So fully de-risked our risk and also took some profits to secure that it's always going to be a win. So I'm just not sure if I want to add back now and put additional risk on the table. But at the same time, I think the project's really awesome, you know, and $20 million market cap is pretty cheap. So I'd say anything mid to low teens is a pretty good bid long term on Unibot. So if we get like, you know, any kind of new lows on this new chart now, $10 to like $14, I'm probably going to add back a little bit. And as far as Tropica goes, I mean, I don't even know. Like, who's selling at this point, right? The vision is there. There's only 300 holders. I mean, I wager a lot of those guys are pretty committed. I don't know. I mean, it seems like anything in the 60s at this point is a pretty good bid. It'd be nice to see 50s again, but I really don't know if we do. So, I mean, it's a hard call, right? You know, it's making new highs now as I speak, and it has had no significant pullback since 25 cents. So it's hard to say. I would say anything in the 60s, honestly, is going to be a good bid. But, I mean, that pretty much covers most of the coins that I wanted to talk about. I was trying to make this a pretty quick stream. We've done it in about an hour. Got some stuff I want to do today. You guys got any questions before, you know, we get out of here? I got more time if we want to chit chat about some stuff, but all in all, things are looking pretty good. I mean, this ETF news is really exciting. Even if it takes some months to play out, I mean, it's setting us up for a wild run into 2024 and potentially even 2025. And that's what we're looking for. You know, I really think this is the cycle to make it. But, you know, I would say the question I get the most from people, and this is maybe a tough pill to swallow, but a lot of people want to know, you know, how would I structure myself if I had a mid to low 5-figure portfolio? You know, what would I do differently? And what would be my expectations? And I would just say to keep your expectations reasonable, right? We might get a wild, crazy bull run. You might be able to 100x your portfolio. But in reality, you know, the dream of 10K to millions of dollars, it might just not be a thing, right? You know, this is the 4th major crypto cycle. I think if you play your cards right, it's absolutely still doable. But I just think it makes sense to have some reasonable expectations going into this. Okay, you know, I just think don't expect to turn your 10K into $1 million, right? You might be able to. You might make more than that. But don't run it up from 10K to 250,000 waiting for $1 million and then run your 250,000 back to 20K. All right, because you're gonna be livid, right? I know you TP at 200,000 and then it goes to where you would have been at $1 million, you're gonna be livid, but you're gonna be way more livid if you run it all back. So don't be afraid to constantly be raising cash, constantly paying yourself. If you get a 2 or 3x and you want to take what is in front of you, right? let your winners run. Right? I'm not saying take everything off and be super, super aggressive with it. But take profits when you're in profits. Cut your losers when they start going against you. And try and be reasonable with it. Okay, that's probably my biggest piece of advice. Don't set some wild 50 to 100x portfolio target and then, just stick to it tunnel visioned and not take what you get in your faces. Okay, because I don't know, it's nice to imagine we're going to get 2 years of a bull run, right? Everything rips, it's great. But if it doesn't happen, and we can still have periods of times like we've had the last 6 months where you can make good returns, take those returns, and hold some cash. Because there's going to be, if we get a crazy bull run, there will be endless opportunity every single day. You'll wake up and there's a 10x in the market somewhere. Every day. So just don't get suckered into thinking it's going to be super easy. If it was super easy, everyone would be rich. Nobody would be having any problems in crypto. But I tell you, if there's a bull run, there will still be people that run their accounts to zero. And it's mind-blowing. You go back and look at the charts from 2020 and 2022 and all that, and you think, how could anyone run to zero during this? Well, they did. Oh, they did. So, have a plan. Stick to it, but have reasonable expectations, okay? It's not 2016 anymore, guys. It's not going to be super easy to run $1,000 to $1 million. Right? You're going to have to be really smart, and that's why I like to play low caps, because I think they offer the best opportunity to turn something small into something massive with the lowest amount of risk. And it's not to say low caps are low risk by any means. A lot of them are going to go to zero. Bitcoin's probably not going to zero, so it's not as high risk as the low caps, but Bitcoin's not going to turn your $1,000 into $100,000. I'm sorry. It is what it is. So have reasonable expectations, guys. The goal is more so to acquire more ETH using low caps. Yes. Now I'm not super strict on it. If I make a ton of money in low caps, I'm happy to cash that to fiat. I'm happy to have more stable coins, but in the end, the big picture trade for me is Ethereum, right? I definitely see this going to, I don't know, $10,000 in the coming years. Everything is done through Ethereum. If Bitcoin goes to new highs, Ethereum's going to new highs and probably a lot further because the tech is actually useful and you actually need Ethereum to use it. So yeah, ideally, my biggest position by the end of the year will be Ethereum. And yeah, absolutely. I think holding BTC and getting involved in BTC is a good move too with the ETF because we might really get a period of time where only Bitcoin is rallying. Bitcoin and low caps, right? Because when people are making bank on BTC, they're probably not going to go buy Aave and XRP and AVAX, right? Why would you buy those when you can safely make the money in BTC? But they might throw some shekels at low caps because they can put a tiny piece of their profits into low caps and get some pretty big positions. If there's a $2 million market cap coin and you're up $1 million on BTC, you can throw, 1% of that at a low cap and get a fat, 2% of the supply. So I think low caps will continue to rally with Bitcoin, but I think mid caps and high caps might struggle if the whole narrative is this Bitcoin ETF. The big money is going to want to be in Bitcoin. So yeah, I absolutely think there's reason to have a good Bitcoin position going into the end of the year if we get this ETF approval. Right? I do wonder if the big boys that are planning all this stuff, if they're going to want to get cheap Bitcoin positions, though, before that happens, because that would be pretty good cause for something like this. And then ETF confirms, right? The big boys have loaded up fat, juicy positions in the low 20Ks. So I think that's a pretty decent thesis for a further dip. You know, I'm not gonna, it's not a guarantee by any means, but I would definitely have some cash to be buying BTC and Ethereum on the dips if we get it. But yeah, I think it's absolutely worthwhile holding it. Again, if you have reasonable expectations, right? Don't expect $100,000 end of year. Don't expect new highs end of year, right? Don't expect a 10x on your BTC bids. You know, you might, anything's possible, but understand that you're in BTC, one, just in case only BTC rallies, and two, to mute the volatility of your portfolio, because, you know, if low caps are nuking 80%, there's a good chance Bitcoin's only nuking 20 or 15%, or even, I mean, goodness, we saw one of the craziest things we've seen in crypto the other day, where you had Bitcoin nuke 5%, and you had some high caps puking 50%. I mean, that's wild. 10x the volatility of BTC. Right? So if you're all in high caps and you're down 50% your portfolio in a week, if you had just had 50% in BTC instead, half your portfolio would be down 5%. That would have fully retraced already. Meanwhile, those high caps are still down 30% from where they dumped. I mean, look at these. They're destroyed on a 5% move in BTC. It's wild. So yeah, I definitely think there's reason to have some BTC in your portfolio. I don't, you know, it's just kind of how I play. I'm willing to bet hard on the low caps. And, you know, if we get a good opportunity on BTC, I'm willing to get some, but I'm not super concerned about it. You know, if I miss a 2x on BTC from here to 50K, if BTC goes to 50K, you best believe all this stuff is going to be going higher. So, I don't know. I'm not super worried about it, but I definitely think it makes some sense, especially if you're playing it a little bit more cautiously. Like, I know I got a buddy that's got well into the 7 figures in BTC, and they're rocking $5,000 low cap positions, you know, $10,000 low cap positions, small positions for their portfolio, 80% BTC, because they're happy with the 2x, the 3x. You know, they've got reasonable expectations, and they're happy to maybe make a 10x on their low caps, even on light size for them. They don't need to be all in to be comfortable. For me, though, if I see something that I think can be big, I want a big piece of it, right? I used to just go in, buy a bunch of bags, same size in every bag, but it's not how I play anymore. If I think something is better than the rest of the stuff I own, I'm not going to own the same amount of it. I'm willing to take the extra risk. Especially with initial risk on any given one of these is 1, 2, at the worst, you know, 5%. And the rest of it's just open P&L. The risk is low. The potential reward is extremely high. And, you know, got cash in the bank. I got stable coins. And I got equity in my own house, for goodness sake. I mean, I feel comfortable taking a bit of a higher risk on low caps. I don't feel the need to have Bitcoin. But a lot of people are going to be better off having exposure to that, for sure. And it's another good time for me to say, guys, don't copy trade me. Don't follow me thinking you're going to have the same returns as me, because you're probably not. You're probably not going to play it the same way I do, which is good. You shouldn't. Right? Because if you're always chasing me, you're going to have later entries, you're going to have later sales, versus you make your own decisions. You might get in earlier than me, and you might get out at a better price. Like, I know guys in here that are taking coins I've never even heard of, and they're kicking ass, right? Like, versus if you're just following me, you're not going to be in those other coins that I'm not even aware of. You're going to be chasing my entries and chasing my exits, and sometimes my exit is going to be at the low of a move, right? So, you know, you really do got to think for yourself. You know, I like to think that my decisions are better than average, but in the end, you know, it's not like I'm rocking a 90% win rate or something, or a perfection rate on my entries and exits. So, you know, give yourself some credit. Don't be afraid to make decisions for yourself. All right. And I'm always willing to chit chat and, you know, give my own opinions on it. And obviously if I'm exiting, I think it'll go lower. If I'm buying, I think it'll go higher. But don't feel like you just gotta chase what I'm doing. Okay? I mean, I know as soon as I say that, right, the next hold on. I'm getting a notification for buffering. I'm not showing drop frames though. We're still good here? I think we're still good. YouTube's saying it's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming, so probably a good as time as any to just wrap this up. It's been a good hour stream. I really did not want to stream for long today. But do we have any questions? Is the stream still good too? Let me check it real quick. Might be some echo here. I mean, it looks clean. It looks fine. I don't know. YouTube's freaking out on me for no reason. But yeah, any closing questions you guys want me to address? Oh, I think we've got some good stuff coming the next year, guys. And on top of that, we got the Blockcircle digital analytics platform coming. I can't wait to do all of my analysis in our own proprietary web app. I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for the different indicators we're going to have. And oh, it's going to be so cool, man. And the trading bots and whatnot, the alerts. We got some good stuff cooking. You guys are in here at the right time. And that brings up another good point. If you guys have things you want to ask me, I'm not saying you got to do it now on stream, but don't be afraid to DM me. Because now is the time. I mean, the markets are kind of reasonably boring. I know low caps are kind of fire right now, but compared to a bull market, things are pretty quiet, right? And Blockcircle is probably as quiet as it's ever going to be again, because we're about to be pushing this thing hard. I'm looking to have hundreds, if not thousands of members in here. So the nature of that is it's going to be harder to give a ton of time to every individual person. You know, it is what it is. But right now, I've got the time. You know, I'm not saying I've got infinite time or I'm always going to respond in that moment, but I will give my best effort to get back to you as soon as possible. And, you know, with completely honest responses, as much as I think needs to be said. You know, I've had responses to some people that are just paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs, you know, and I'm not going to have the time to do that for everyone in the coming years. So if you got things you want to ask, things you want to talk about and discuss, now is the time to do it. All right. But anyways, I'm not seeing any questions, so we'll wrap it up there. If you guys have specific questions about specific coins, about strategy or Bitcoin, or just want to talk, I mean, I'm here. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. I appreciate you guys tuning in, every single one of you. And shout out to Jesus for allowing me to do this. I mean, could not be here without the glory of God. So thank you so much for that. I want to give credit where it's due. And yeah, I mean, that about does it. I will see you Blockcircle guys in the chat. Oh, I guess we're just Blockcircle guys here since it's a private stream. But oh yeah, I will say also, I said this last stream, but eventually we're going to do about a 30-minute public stream for everyone. We'll talk BTC, maybe glance at low caps and stuff. And then we'll do directly after that, we'll do the private Blockcircle stream where we can really hit it hard on low caps, Q&A, stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, thank you, Tommy. You guys take it easy too. Trade smart, trade safe. Have a good Father's Day. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.